More Hawaii Part 2 vinyls will be pressed soon. With that noted, I thought it would be a great idea to do the Hawaii Part 2 unboxing in the middle of the woods.
This is indeed a box. I'm here in the place that reminds me the most of Hawaii Part 2 for some reason, even though it is definitely not Hawaii. And I figured this would be a perfect place as any to unbox this box. It's a nice brown colored box, you know, could be considered as some foreshadowing, perhaps. Just gotta figure out how to open it. Since I just kind of wandered into the woods without a pair of scissors. There we go. One part down. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, look at this. Look at this. Box being unboxed. There we go. And start to get the glimpse of something more, perhaps. It's so beautiful! Oh my gosh. Look at this. Look at this majestic. And let's see if we can get this zoomed in at all, possibly. The color version of Hawaii Part 2, where it's not just grayscale. It's so pretty as well. Cannot wait to listen to this on the record player. I get to listen to the Mind Electric on vinyl. That's wild. Great. Oh my gosh. Hawaii Part 2. Alright. Let's see these goodies. We've got the lyric booklets. The other side got a bit of the darker version, but also a rainbow, I guess. Can't believe I'm holding Hawaii Part 2. Alright. Now, the iconic brown Hawaii Part 2 vinyl is real. Dude, I cannot wait to listen to the Mind Electric. Here we go. It is real.
As I've mentioned before, I am not a vinyl expert, but Hawaii Part 2 by Miracle Musical is probably my favorite album out of anything, so I'm just insanely lucky to have this repress from Vinyl Luxe Records added to my collection. Starting with the cover, as I sort of touched on during the unboxing, the cover art for this is actually in color instead of grayscale. The back of the cover is with stars, a palm tree, and a white void. It contains the credits for every song on the record, who wrote it, who did the instruments, and then a bit of a thanks at the end, where it says, "Thanks to you." The back of the cover wraps around to one of the sides, where then it has the Miracle Musical logo in Japanese, and then the title, Hawaii Part 2. Then the other two sides of the cover are just white, which blends in with the front cover art frame. I will note that when I picked up the box containing my copy of Hawaii Part 2, it was a tad beat up, and the actual vinyl cover itself is just slightly dented, and the paper's kind of coming apart towards the top, but it's barely noticeable unless you're staring at it very intently. So, since I'm just going to be using this to listen to Hawaii Part 2 casually, it's being slightly dented is perfectly fine for me. But if you're a hardcore collector and you really want to, like, make sure it's in a pristine condition whenever they repress the vinyls, I guess it's just something to be aware of with the shipping, that the box just could get beat up. Then as seen inside the vinyl, there is a bit of a lyric page with the lyrics for all of the songs on the record. On the lyric page, the choruses are only printed once so that there's enough room to get everything consistently, I guess. What's interesting, though, is Dream Suite in C major does not have the French portion of the lyrics printed out, but on Space Station Level 7, there's the part in French. So I don't know why that's not included on Dream Suite, but maybe there was just not enough space. What's cool is the little sticker in the center on the vinyl itself has the track listing for whatever side you're listening to, even though it's not indicated by side A or side B. The sticker art also contains the Stella Octangula logo with a rainbow behind it. Little update, after a bit of closer examination, it looks like the different sides of the vinyl have numbers, and then the first side has a little A indicator on that number, and then the other side has a B. So even though it's not explicitly put out on the vinyl sticker itself, I guess that does indicate which side is A and B. I'm not entirely sure what the number means, though. Having side 1 end with the reverse portion of the Mind Electric is so cool. What's interesting is on the track listing here, the reverse part of the Mind Electric has a plus and then a minus sign in parentheses. You know, kind of ties in with electricity, how there's positive, negative power. I almost see it as almost like, you know, you have a battery where there's one side is positive, one side is negative. And then the forwards portion of the Mind Electric has the negative sign and then the plus sign. So it's almost like you just swapped it around, you know, you swapped the electron, swapped the battery, however you want to go with that analogy. Then side 2 starts with the forward version of the Mind Electric and ends with Dream Suite in C major. I kind of wish Variations on a Cloud was here too, but I get there was probably not enough room to fit it all in. Then we have the color of the album, which is brown. Thematically, I don't know why it's brown. One of the jokes is it's because it's all the colors of the rainbow mixed together. I don't know if that's the reasoning. I guess it's kind of like a vintage look to it, but depending on the lighting, it's either much more kind of dark chocolate looking or just a very vibrant milk chocolate, bright brown. But yeah, you know, maybe it's a bit of a vintage look, like old photographs kind of get like this brownish look to them. You know, it has a bit of a 1950s sound on the record, so maybe that's what they were going with the color. Or maybe the color was just totally random. It's just kind of an interesting choice. I kind of hope if they do press Hawaii Part 2 again, they will maybe do another clear version or some type of clear color or some type of splattering, or even it could just be like, it could be black and then maybe just a singular splatter of some rainbow colors. Like, there's plenty of cool things they could do with this in the future. But, I mean, brown. I did listen to the record all the way through yesterday on my record player, had my headphones plugged in, which I think is quite the ideal experience because, you know, you've got the left and right channel action, you know, very immersive of an album anyways. That's what I love about it. But yeah, listening to it on vinyl was so cool. I was just kind of staring intently as the vinyl spun around and just watching the needle move. I don't know. I'm just still so in awe in physical media since everything's so digital now. You know, it's its own mystery, but there's kind of a sense that you know how it works. And then you just have this little piece of plastic where like you add a little needle to it and it starts playing back your favorite album and you're like, how does this work? I feel like just the vibes of listening to something on vinyl is just really cool anyways, and I think just the way how the record sounds that way is just also amazing. Just amazing experience for Hawaii Part 2. Just listening to things on vinyl is slightly different just with how it's engineered and then just the fact that you're listening through a needle. The bass sound on Labyrinth was a lot less noticeable to me, but if I remember correctly too, that's the engineering of vinyl records makes it a bit of a challenge to have heavy bass, where that's more easy to do in, you know, digital tracks. But I really like, though, that in Labyrinth, it made the chiptune seem more prominent. But it could have also just been the capabilities of my record turntable, just because it is not high-end at all. But man, I feel like Hawaii Part 2 is meant to be on vinyl. Almost it's like this strange artifact that you come across where it was just left behind, left to time, and you just stumble across it and you don't really know what it is and you just listen through, I don't know, maybe just the 1950s vibe and the start of Introduction to the Snow fuels that. But I think this has been one of my favorite listening experiences through Hawaii Part 2 in a while, not counting the first time. That was pretty awesome. Listening to this just make crazy sounds. I think this is the peak Hawaii Part 2 experience. It's crazy to me that I can even hold Hawaii Part 2 right now, because the whole release of this was very, very strange. Back in April 2022, there was this vague announcement that Hawaii Part 2 would be repressed from the video Joe Hawley Advertisement 5. However, no new information about that would be announced for months. Neil Luxe Records, the company who's been currently repressing the latest Tally Hall vinyls, specified they had no association with the announced reprint since they don't have the rights to press Hawaii Part 2. A lot of time passed, then about 2 weeks ago, on January 27th, the Twitter page for Vinyl Luxe Records announced they were pressing an exclusive Hawaii Part 2 vinyl. This was not a pre-order to gauge how many people would purchase the vinyl, but instead it was just limited to 1,000 people with a limit of 1 vinyl per customer. I was trying to learn more about Vinyl Luxe Records, but what's interesting is not a whole lot can be found online about the company or who they are. There's a multitude of posts uncertain if Vinyl Luxe Records is even a legit site. To an outsider like myself, it'd be kind of challenging to determine if this was a trustworthy company or an actual company at all, unless someone told you it was.
Something else to note is that Vinyl Luxe Records has worked in conjunction with Neil Luxe Records for exclusive pressings of both of the Tally Hall albums, which should hopefully contribute to showing this is a legit company, even if Google searches are uncertain otherwise.
2 minutes after the Vinyl Luxe announcement, the official page on Twitter for Miracle Musical confirmed that yes, this is where you buy Hawaii Part 2 vinyls. Hawaii Part 2 vinyl was real for fans to own for about an hour. Turns out I bought it 5 minutes before all 1,000 vinyls were sold out. Obviously, a huge portion of fans were not as lucky to snag this pressing of the vinyl. I've seen so many people who wish to have Hawaii Part 2 on vinyl, but it's just so rare to come across. Even when the Vinyl Luxe record wasn't sold out, it also seemed that the international shipping was just absurdly high that it made it hard for people not in the US to even get this. What's interesting is the first ever Hawaii Part 2 pressing happened back in 2018 with a Kickstarter, where people who pledged $30 or more would be able to receive a vinyl. I don't know how these records were actually pressed, what company they used. Maybe it was Vinyl Luxe Records, maybe it was someone else, but the entire process of buying it happened through Kickstarter. This is all just based off of my own random knowledge from Googling, but these original vinyls appear to have the same cover art, same lyric inserts, same labels on the record, but the originals were clear vinyls, not brown. Then it seems the second official Hawaii Part 2 pressing happened through the Ann Arbor Tees website. This is the same company who's making the official Tally Hall t-shirts now. I doubt that the t-shirt company did the actual pressing themselves. It was probably some other company. I could be wrong. Once again, I don't know if Vinyl Luxe Records was the original manufacturer here. Either way, this pressing was similar to the first pressing and the pressing that we have now, except instead of the colors being clear or brown, it was black. From what I've heard, vinyls are quite the challenge to make, especially if you're an independent project like Miracle Musical. And there's been plenty of shortages due to the pandemic, which makes printing vinyls even more challenging. So the fact that we got a repressing of Hawaii Part 2 at all is very impressive. In concept, having an affordable vinyl for new fans is really cool. The thing is, even before the vinyl started to ship, scalpers already started posting the vinyl to eBay marked up hundreds of dollars. Some people or companies still have listings going on right now on eBay, and some of the sellers appear to have more copies than the 1 customer limit on Vinyl Luxe. Just as a note, I do gotta say, I don't think bidding on this on eBay is worth it. There are more Hawaii Part 2 pressings coming soon, and I don't think it's going to be as exclusive in the future. So if you just really, really want a Hawaii Part 2 vinyl, just wait a little bit. Though I guess the $35 for this record already seemed kind of pricey to me. It's a record that's just one single LP. It doesn't have gatefold art. It doesn't have a download code to get the MP3s of the songs. And it's not really bringing something new for the repressing, except for just the fact that it's brown. As mentioned, I don't really know a lot about records or vinyl collecting or how all of that works, but this is the most that I've spent for a vinyl with kind of the least amount to show for it. Other ones, which were in the like $30, $40 range, were signed, or they included other things like stickers or posters, or it wasn't just a single color. I'm still glad and thankful to even own this at all, but I hope it's understandable why all of the aspects of this pressing have been a bit frustrating for myself and other fans. I just hope we can reach the point where Hawaii Part 2 fans can affordably get merch, vinyls, and CDs without worrying about that option just vanishing. But based on the statements from the Miracle Musical Twitter, I really believe they are working to reach that. It'll just be interesting to see how it goes from here. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.